Oi, Ricardo.
Yes.
How are things, man?
They're pretty chill. Just training for my new job and watching some Spanish films. It's all good.
That's good. It sounds lovely.
Very.
It seems like you're having a good life.
Yeah, what about you, man? How are you doing? I haven't asked you in a while.
I'm fine at the moment. I
How's Japan?
Japan is very humid and heat wave is killing me.
Ugh,
It's like 95 degrees every day.
damn.
But yeah, and I punched myself.
Oh, like metaphorically or like literally?
No, I literally punched myself in the face last night. Yeah, my mental health has been unstable for the past week or so. We apologize for starting this episode with such a heavy topic, but if any of you suffering from mental illness, like I can tell you as someone who does go through depression, talk to someone. Don't be like me. Don't be a loner like me and try to deal with it on your own. Just talk to parents, talk to your friends, talk to your Keanu Reeves, and just
Your counselor, your school counselor if you have one. They typically offer health services and make sure you gotta treat yourself, Hito. Sometimes you
yeah,
gotta find the small things in life and enjoy yourself.
yeah. That's thank you for bringing that up. I feel like just find something that you love, because the world can be tough. It sure is tough for a lot of people these days. So
It is rough, honestly. Like these past few weeks in the US of A, it's been a little bit rough for some people.
yeah, so do something that makes you happy. Life is short. You never know
Yes.
what happens next, on the next day. So do whatever that makes you happy that doesn't hurt other people.
Yes. You can hurt yourself if you enjoy it, but not other people.
Yeah, not other people.
Enjoy life.
Enjoy life. Yes, enjoy life.
One of the most beautiful things about life is that there's so much dumb shit to do in life that at least one of those things will bring you so much pleasure. 21st century, there's a lot of technology out there that exists that we don't know, but it will bring pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, just do something that you love. Something that makes you happy. And call your parents, call your friends, tell them that you love them, tell them that how much they mean to you,
Hmm.
and don't be a Republican.
No. You know, it's one thing that you and I both love?
What?
We both love the art of cinema.
Yes.
But I think today's episode might be a bit different because we're going to dwell into a medium that is a bit different from movies or film.
Today we are discussing two TV shows. And what are we talking about?
I will talk about the fabulous TV show called Cracks of Corona, The Boys,
Which is currently available on Amazon Prime,
which I
right?
highly recommend. And you will talk about
Yeah, I'm going to complain about what happened to the OA on Netflix.
The Injustice, you said,
Yeah,
over our chat. Yes.
yeah, the injustice regarding the OA.
There's a little conspiracy theory about that show that I read about that might be
Mm-hmm.
true, but I don't think they're that smart.
Okay.
Netflix. We're talking about Netflix.
Yeah.
But let's go to Amazon Land, where I feel like their TV game is very uprising, in my opinion. So, The Boys. It's an Amazon Prime show, and I didn't hear about it until recently, like maybe a month ago. I saw an ad for it, and it was like superheroes, and I was like, oh, another superhero show. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. After the Marvel third phase was a third or fourth third phase.
Yeah.
I had a I, I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but I had a kind of an exhaustion
Mm-hmm.
of the superhero genre. Like that's like the new Western or the noir. It's superhero movies. Those are money makers right now.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, it's another superhero show, and I already had that pre notion like, oh, it's gonna be like Marvel, like Daredevil or Jessica Jones or Luke Cage. But then I watched the first episode and I thought, this is no Marvel TV show.
Mm-hmm.
This is completely different, which I don't know if you know this, but that show is actually based off a real comic book.
Oh.
And it's like a 10 comic book series,
Mm-hmm.
which it's very unique because, okay, premise, and it's a not a spoiler. There's a guy named Huey who's walking with his girlfriend, and they're very intimate with each other. Oh, I'm not like they talk about Billy Joel, and they talk about everything. But then when they're holding hands with each other, the girlfriend's on the sidewalk, and when they're talking about their plans in the future, she explodes, and you're like, what the heck is what? How'd she explode? It turns out a Flash type character called A Train ran through her so fast that she exploded.
Yeah, that scene was that scene was nasty and really sad.
Yes, and based off of that introduction, it sets the entire tone of the show, which is gritty, uncomfortable realism,
Mm.
but with a superhero genre thrown in.
Is it funny?
It is hilarious. There are a ton of one-liners where I'm gonna quote it from now on because did you know the show, like each episode is written by either a man or a female? Like it's always written by mostly women. A lot of women direct the series.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like, and there's a very feminist, like one of the A plots is a feminist story regarding superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
And what the show does is that it takes the superhero genre, like I mean, of course, it makes fun, not makes fun of, but it does a satire of the Avengers and it critiques superhero culture, but it has the idea of privatization and capitalism using superheroes, like the imagery of if like what if Superman was like a product or an asset, like oh he appeals to the white America or mainstream America in the Midwest between ages 18 to 49. It's a lot of different ideas like that, and I think that's the strongest point of the show, which I think Marvel, in my opinion, lacks sometimes. I think the show doesn't because it's only 8 episodes, but after I finished the last episode, I thought I want more of this because the story isn't like oh you have to build up and kill the bad guy, which is most superhero movies. It's a continuous story, and choices lead to consequences, and those consequences lead to a longer path in the journey of the show, which is
Mm-hmm.
how the season ends. And I thought, oh my God, how are they going to keep going with this? And I think that's what makes it such a strong. The writing of the show is so well done. Like it's a tight TV show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like there's so many scenes that show like oh here's a big epic scene happening. There's none of that in the show.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the scenes that involve the superpowers are intimate.
Mm.
Like when people use their powers, it's very intimate. Like people say like why are you using your powers? Why you do? I mean it's a TV show because the budget's gonna be lowered. But since the budget's lowered, the special effects are used as an intimate tool rather than like a spectacle.
Mm.
The powers are part of the storytelling, not just a flair.
Mm. Okay.
I feel like this is the property of superhero movies where like if people say like oh, I'm not really into it, this is one you can watch and you will fully enjoy. I legit think this might be a Emmy winner because of how politically driven and how smart the show is. Like there was one episode that talks about the god complex of Superman, which in the show his name is Homelander, and it talks about how gods are perceived as I'm sorry, superheroes are perceived as gods, and what does the gods mean to the American people and the world.
Do you want to talk about that one sort of scene where you told me like how funny the show was?
Oh my
Or
god.
do
Okay.
you want the listener to just find it on their own
No,
or?
this is what convinced you to watch it. So I feel like it will convince other people. So there's a scene where A Train, who's basically the Flash, like he runs really fast.
Mm-hmm.
He visits a kid in a hospital who has cancer. Okay, the show's kind of edgy, so keep in mind it was made in the 2000s and 90s, so the humor is a bit darker. So he goes to the hospital. It's a cancer patient, and he's like, hey kid, it's A Train here. I'm here to help you out." Like heavily scripted. He's
Mm-hmm.
putting on a performance. He's like, "I'm here to help you beat cancer," and then the kid says, "I asked for a transparent man." Who was like the like Invisible Woman or like the Invisible Man or something like that. He's like, I asked for a transparent man. He's like, oh, he's not here right now. He's out fighting crime and all. And he's like, but I asked for him. Like I have a Make-A-Wish Foundation, and I asked for him. That was my one wish. And then A Train's like, but he's like nervous, like he's like stuttering. He's like, well, I could teach you how to run, I mean, how to beat cancer. And then the kid says, "Can you teach me how to outrun cancer?" And then A Train looks at the camera and he just says like he has like the acting is so well done. He just looks at the camera and says like, "Do I continue the script?" And it's that idea of those super awkward moments that perception and celebrities have to deal with. And it's so brilliantly written that I feel like the humor will stand out to anybody. I recommend 10 out of 10. I think it's also like recently I read that it's the highest rated Amazon show ever.
Really?
And I think it was the only show where it had like perfect tens all around. Even from like critics are like, this is a pretty good show. Like
Wow.
they actually utilize the superhero genre well. Now, there is justice served in The Boys, but I will say, according to Hito, there is an injustice with the OA.
Yep. You put it
So
so beautifully. Thank
so
you for that.
beautifully.
Yeah.
I got you. Beautiful translation. All right, I know nothing of the show, so let me help you moderate it. Hito, what is the OA?
The OA is a recently canceled show on Netflix. I'm still mad about that. Which is a sci-fi TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a story about, well, it's very complicated, so I'm going to try to keep it simple without spoiling too much. It is a story about this woman who was recently rescued by the authority. She has been missing for a couple of years. I forgot how many years, but like a really long time. She disappeared when she was like 20 something, and she came back like 5 years later or whatever. And she refers to herself as the OA, even though her real name is Prairie. She has this mission that she needs to save Homer, which is
Simpson?
yes, yeah, Homer Simpsons, of course.
Or the author.
Yeah, the author. Yeah. Yes. So, oh my God, you just killed me right there.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So the OA says that I need to save Homer, and I need 5 people, 5 like unique individuals to help me save him. And Homer is one of the guys who was kidnapped by Jason Isaacs.
Oh, wow.
Who you might remember from Harry Potter. He played Lucius Black. Lucius Black? Yeah. No, not Black. Lucius Malfoy. And he's also been in a bunch of movies and TV shows. He was recently in Star Trek Discovery, if anybody watches
Really?
that show. Yeah, he was like the main character of that show, I think.
Or Death of Stalin to our
Oh,
fans.
yes, the Death of Stalin. He's sort of the go-to evil guy. He's so good at playing like bad guys. And
Yes.
yeah, you would recognize him. Anybody who doesn't know Jason Isaacs, just type in Jason Isaacs and you'll be like, oh, that guy. So Prairie recruits 5 people from different cultural backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts sharing stories about what happened to herself and Homer and what happened with the perpetrator. I'm gonna try to make it vague because
Spoilers.
the entire spoilers, and the entire show revolves around what happens with those characters. And this show is so intelligent, so bonkers, and really ambitious. If you love sci-fi, you're gonna dig this. And the first season premiered in 2016, and the second season just came out in March of this year.
Oh, wow. That's recent.
Yeah, I will admit season 1 is frustrating to watch, for most people. And it's a very slow show. It's a slow burn. That's what cool kids these days refer to. It's a slow burn, and it's idea driven, and it's not everyone's cup of tea. But if you love sci-fi, you're gonna dig this. And I did find the finale of season 1 a bit frustrating, not quite satisfying. But then if you see season 2, you know exactly why they ended on that note. And season 2 is just, again, absolutely brilliant. It's probably one of my top 5 favorite TV shows, seasons of all time. I love this. I love this show. It's so different. It's just really different from anything that's out there. Like, if you can go with the weirdness, go with the bonkers nature of this show, and once again, if you love sci-fi, if you love ambitious storytelling, you will really dig this show.
Now, let me ask you this. I feel like this question will determine why it got canceled. I was about to say, yeah, is it experimental? I was going to ask, how is it really experimental?
Very experimental, very idea driven. It's one of those things that if you don't pay attention, you will immediately get lost.
I don't mean I'm not bashing, but I'm acknowledging, just for conversation's sake. I feel like the type of television people nowadays, like Netflix mainly has created this, is easily understandable and plot-driven stories. For example, Stranger Things. I feel like that is what television is, what people want these days.
Yeah.
And in the way, by the way you're describing it, which it sounds interesting to me, Matt, because I heard a theory about it, no spoilers. I heard a theory that the cancellation was a fake out, meaning they didn't actually cancel it. They're lying to the audiences to drive hype, and it resolves around the show's plot, which I don't know anything about it. But they said because of the show's nature, they're gonna revive it in some way where it involves the show. I don't know. It's weird shit that I don't know about, but it sounds like that kind of show is doing weird shit that no other TV show, at least on the Netflix and Amazon market, is trying to do.
I really hope this show gets resurrected on Hulu or something. I've been a huge fan of their work for quite some time, both Brit Marling and Zal Batmanglij. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. I'm sorry if I messed it up. But they've written and directed some really interesting indie movies. I would highly recommend checking out Another Earth, Sound of My Voice, and The East. They are really interesting artists. Their films are unique and tackle some very interesting subject matters. So, big fan of their work, and I was so happy that they had the chance to do this really just bizarre sci-fi show. And I'm just really sad. Injustice. Just save the OA. # save the OA. I really want people to see it. I keep telling you, and I keep telling all my friends that they need to see the OA, even before the cancellation. I was like, dude, you got to see the OA. It's really something.
I think one thing that I think this should be a big factor. It's very diverse, isn't it?
It is very diverse. The members that Prairie recruits comes from, like I said, comes from very different backgrounds. One is a very white character who is an outsider and he gets in trouble all the time. One is a Mexican guy, I think, or I guess Latino guy.
Hey yo.
Yeah, who is gay.
Hey yo.
Hasn't come out yet. And another one is a teacher who's been how do I say it? I guess who's been considered looked at as an outsider. And another character is just another white guy, but he's a more nerd type, not very sociable, just just do things on his own. And the last one is a trans character, a trans man, a teenager, trans character who, God, I can't get into the spoilers. This character,
Yeah, don't talk about it if you don't
yeah,
have to.
but this character has some really interesting character arc, and
Okay.
I really love what they did with this particular character, and he's Asian. He's an Asian
Whoa.
trans American. He's an Asian American transgender character.
An
That just
Asian
made me so
character
happy.
in cinema and television? Are you what? That's
Yes.
crazy.
So that made me so happy, and I'm really happy for the guy who played this character, Ian Alexander. I think that's the name. Check out his social media because he is cute. He's cute as hell.
Aw, that's sweet. You know, Hito, you convinced me. I think our discussions for both of us, honestly, have convinced us why our other watched show is interesting.
I saw this thing on Twitter, and it said that Netflix canceled 8 original shows that were created by women. The OA is one of them, but they decided to hire Benioff and Weiss, the creators of Game of Thrones, for another
Yeah.
show or movies. I'm like, it just pisses me off that they keep hiring these people and just getting rid of all these wonderful contents created by women and other non-white folks. So yeah.
Even if I mean, I will admit that I never watched the sci-fi shows, but if people, I feel like Netflix doesn't advertise these kind of shows enough.
Yeah, no, they really don't. When they dropped the OA season 2, like there was barely any publicity.
And then when Stranger Things came out, I saw merchandise,
Yeah.
food collaborations,
Yeah.
and it really makes you think. Like you could argue it's kind of like women's soccer. Like, oh, they don't make as much money as the men's soccer, but then they
Yeah.
do more quality stuff, like win the World Cup,
Mhm.
unlike the men. But then these like Netflix specifically, if they put as much effort as with Stranger Things, you would think these shows would be more popular. I don't know. You got these. If I feel like if these Netflix and like I don't care about Hulu, but Amazon, if these film companies want to like survive, they have to dwell into different markets of people.
Yeah.
People are kind of getting bored. I mean, shocker. People are getting bored of just white Americans.
Yeah.
Now I can say this. Hito and we say go watch the OA.
Yeah, go watch the OA, seriously.
So then that's a Hito recommendation.
Yeah.
Certified.
Yeah. All right, so I think we have a few minutes, some time to talk about one movie. I really want to talk about this one movie because it made me so happy, and Ricardo has a very different opinions.
Very different. Like,
very different
complete
opinions.
Polar opposite.
Yeah, so we want to quickly discuss this film before we go. So,
Quick take.
yeah, quick take. I recently saw Long Shot on
Yes.
digital, which is a film that came out in May. It was like a couple of weeks after Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
It did not make enough money. It's considered a box office flop. It stars Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron. Seth Rogen plays a journalist. Charlize Theron plays the Secretary of the State.
Secretary of State running for president.
Yeah, running for president for 2020. Charlize Theron finds out that she used to babysit for Seth Rogen's character.
Yes.
And she hires him as one of her personal speech writers.
Yeah, speechwriter, because he's like funny and he's edgy because he used to work for like a Daily Beast type, like journalism, like edgy journalism. Like he would be like, oh yeah, like the bourgeoisie or the man. Like he was that kind of reporter, which is quirky. And they're like, oh, we need to be more quirky. Let's hire this guy.
I thought this movie was delightful. I love this movie so much, and I guess you can tell what Ricardo thinks of this movie now that I'm, expressing how I feel about it. But this movie made me so happy. Just I said this in the beginning of the episode, like, the world is, going to shit right now. And we need movies that, make you happy, just, believe in something positive. And I thought this was a classic rom-com with the, usual Seth Rogen toilet humor kind of sprinkled around. Just,
Yeah.
every now and then. It wasn't as excessive as his, some of his other films, but I just thought this movie was so delightful. It's funny, it's charming. And the chemistry between Charlize and Seth is really great. I totally bought them as a couple. I believed in their relationship. And supporting characters are great. O'Shea Jackson, Ice Cube's son,
Oh yeah.
is fantastic as Seth
yeah.
Rogen's best friend. And Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis plays.
Andy Serkis.
Yeah, Andy Serkis was in it. He puts on this really just heavy makeup and plays this sort of, I guess, Rupert Murdoch, or I saw more of a Steve Bannon type of character. He's the guy who owns like a big media company.
Him?
Yeah,
that was Andy Serkis.
Yeah, that was Andy Serkis.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that doesn't make it better, but wow.
Yeah, he is really funny in this, and I really like a comedy film, even a rom-com that has some political relevance. This movie is pretty political. It definitely reflects on the current political landscape because the president of the United States in the movie is a former TV star. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And he is a bumbling idiot. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's definitely pointing out the things that are wrong with
media.
Yeah, media. Yeah, just this movie is really funny, and I think it'll put a smile on your face. That's how I feel about this movie now. Ricardo, go.
It's too perfect.
A what?
I think it's too perfect.
Too perfect? What do you mean?
I think this might just be a problem with me in how I view rom-coms and romantic films, because when it comes to I think it's my taste. I honestly just think it's my taste. I'm not saying objectively, I don't think I could critique this film, but personally, I thought it was too perfect because in this type of rom-com, I felt like everything fell into place too perfectly.
So you're saying you don't believe in love?
That's a loaded question. That's a straw man argument, but I don't know. Because a lot of my favorite films regarding love tend to be more rough around the edges, in a sense, thematically.
So you're saying you don't believe in love?
That's a loaded question. I reject your hypothesis. I don't think it matches me. Like, I thought the media aspect was interesting, but it's a rom-com, so it focused more on like the lovey-dovey aspects, which isn't.
What's wrong with lovey-dovey aspects?
I don't know.
Do you not believe in love?
That's a loaded question.
Do you not believe in the power of two people falling in love?
That's a loaded question. I mean, I understand why someone can like love in the movie and have an optimistic view of life after it, but I think for me, I'll stick to my depressing love movies that have strange thematic morals behind it. Yeah, Hito and I have very different views on the human connection.
I know you guys can't see me right now, but I am quietly judging him by shaking my head from left to right. He's wrong. Just listen to me. When it comes to rom-com, you listen to me, people. Because I know what love is.
Our viewers are probably like, what the heck? Like, the roles are switched. Like,
yeah.
When it comes to rom-coms, Hito's the expert. And then to me, I'm just like,
when it comes to a rom-com, always listen to my opinion. But when it comes to a depressing, life-changing, in a slightly negative way movie, listen to Ricardo.
What's up?
Yeah, that's how our podcast works.
I think we could definitely say today's episode was a progressive talk today in the world of television.
Sure. and hopefully progressive in your romantic comedy, uh, views.
Journey.
Yeah, journeys. So yeah, that was a good discussion.
I hope our viewers, I will say I don't watch a lot of television, but I encourage our viewers to explore the world of not cinema, but television. There's a lot to offer in television.
Yeah, don't stick to Stranger Things. Just watch different kinds of things. Watch Dear White People. Watch The OA. Watch Homecoming.
BoJack Horseman.
BoJack Horseman. The Boys.
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Yeah, watch different kinds of shit.
And I watch The Office or Friends for the 100,000th time.
Yeah, those shows can just disappear.
Die.
Yeah.
They are basically.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna say something so controversial, yet so brave.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy they're leaving Netflix.
Me too.
But Hito, I thank you right now for being a good co-host and recommending me a good show.
And thank you, Ricardo, for recommending me an interesting show and giving telling me how you feel about a rom-com, even though I reject everything you said.
Reject your hypothesis.
Yeah, reject your hypothesis. I thank you. And we thank you, all you lovely listeners, for following us and listening to this podcast. We very much appreciate it. Go subscribe. Well, I guess follow us on your go-to podcast suppliers if you haven't, and give us 5-star reviews if you can. We're not on Apple Podcasts.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Because our logo's too big, apparently.
I think our logo artwork something is wrong with the size of it, so we're gonna try to fix it. And apparently, Ricardo's friend's girlfriend,
there might be a possible redesign of the logo, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, so we are waiting for that, and I think after that, artwork is done, I think we can, proudly present ourselves on Apple Podcasts.
For now, thank you for all our viewers. I keep saying viewers. Thank you for our listeners.
Thank you for sticking with us.
And if you can, recommend us. If you go on my Instagram, I have the links all provided in all the episodes in order. So definitely share that with your friends and family.
Yeah. And you can follow us on Twitter at MinorityOPod. And you can send us a letter on minorityopodcast@gmail.com if you have requests, if you have, have concerns. Yeah.
If you think we're bigots, please email us and tell us why. You might learn a thing or two from you, the viewer. Thank you. Any expression is good expression, except for hate crimes. That's no bueno.
Yeah. Don't commit hate crimes. Seriously.
Don't do it. One love. Thank you for today's episode.
And we will see you all
next time on Minority Opinions Podcast. Thank you.